Hello, welcome to Sky's Sweaty Record Review, the only first listen new music review show hosted by a French professor immediately after leaving the YMCA. It's episode 144, 145. I've kind of lost track. You see, I haven't recorded an episode because I've been too busy sweating. By that is that, usually I record a video right after I go to the gym and I'm all sweaty. Well, it's the summer here, and I've helped my brother move into his house, and he's helped me move 9 couches yesterday. I've been sweating, but I haven't been listening to music. So today I finally made it back to the gym, which is great. I had this weird policy where, I don't shower unless I sweat. So I've taken, 4 showers this week. It's been crazy. Anyways, that has nothing to do with the album today, which is going to be Patricia Taxxon's album. I don't know if I even know how to pronounce it. Doraemon. I don't know. It's got some kind of weird sort of Japanese cat on the front. I'm sure there's a backstory to all this. Every time I post an Patricia Taxxon video, people say, you have to look at his YouTube, you have to follow him on Twitter, you have to do all these things. I'm trying to do him the service of just treating him like a musician, not like a personality, not like a YouTube guy, but just like a person who makes music. And as you hopefully know, because you're hopefully big fans, sweatheads. Anyways, you're hopefully big fans and you've watched all my episodes, and you know that he releases an episode every month and I review them. And so it's one of my favorite things to do. It's interesting because, I don't feel like I relate to him, in my life, right? I mean, he's 20 or something, and I'm 41 and all that. And I'm about to get married, I have a couple kids, whole thing. But I really relate a lot. I remember feeling the way that he describes his feeling. So I feel qualified to judge what he's singing about, even though I am emotionally not at all in the same place where he very clearly is. I remember those feelings. And so a lot of my audience is older as well. It's worth listening to it. I will say that sometimes his voice is annoying. It is what it is, right? He sings in a very authentic voice. And often when people sing authentically, it can be grating. But if you can get past that, if you're one of my older viewers who hears it and just go, give it more of a shot, because the production is interesting enough and the sort of world that he's been creating over this year of music is really quite strong. Also, stay tuned for the end, because you'll get to see me remake a meme that I discovered thanks to Patricia Taxxon. That might make you turn off the video. But anyways, it's funny. I fall down. It's funny. Sky goes boom boom. It's good. I would say what makes this interesting... Okay, so he's releasing an album every month. And it seems that inside of this artist, Patricia Taxxon, there's this constant battle, which is one that happens to a lot of hyper-intelligent artists. It's the battle of irony versus earnestness, emotion versus intellect, head versus heart. And I really feel it. The last album that he released was this Victory Lap, and it was all fascinating mashups of other music, and it was aggressive and crazy and smart and clever, very, very clever. And if you're an artist, you know that it's great to be clever, but it's not good to be too clever. And I think what Patricia Taxxon does quite well is, by releasing so much music, a lot of it is really earnest. He's singing from the heart. He's talking about his life. He's talking about his feelings. There's a lot of emotional themes in this record that follow from other records and that are very consistent. And so I really enjoy listening to this and feeling this conflict back and forth between the head and the heart. So, this album, I would say, is the battlefield between these things. It's not like the 16 sketchbooks one, which was 2 albums ago, which is basically all heart. And it's not like Victory Lap, which is basically all head. It's kind of a mixture between them. And yet, okay, well, let's just go through the record, right? The first track is a great example of this kind of mixture. It starts off with this kind of funny, cute, sounds like a sample from something. Good. So that sound is one of the main sounds of the record. But you see, it doesn't stay with that. It then goes to this fairly poppy keyboard here. And as the song goes on, it keeps building on itself. And it starts off with this, just these keyboards, a weird sample of someone saying, I hit him with a, and I started to feel like, okay, this is very much like Victory Lap. But then the lyrics come in, and he introduces a lot of these themes that are going to be in the album. The song's called Homeward Demon, and it seems to be that a lot of this music this time is about his feelings of alienation, feelings of sort of hopelessness, feelings of inauthenticity to himself, a lot of feelings that, I don't know, I definitely felt when I was 20 years younger than I am now. What's nice is it really develops excellent. This song, you know, he lets the songs breathe. The song's, how long is this? 5 minutes long. And he really lets it breathe. It constantly builds on itself. Towards the end, you know, he starts singing these personal lyrics. But what's nice is he has the keyboard underneath that intentionally not perfectly match what he's singing. So it's still a little bit uneasy. And it's this other battle that happens, I think, with Eric Taxxon, which is music versus anti-music. He seems to be trying to figure out, like, do I want to make music or do I want to destroy music? And I hope the answer is yes, because he's good at both. The next track is The Loudest Patch of Grass. That's the loudest dog of downstairs barking. And this is... So, you know, video games are really important, and video game music is really excellent. You know, I mean, the theme song to Pitfall 2 is maybe the greatest piece of music in the canon. And a lot of his instrumental music, and even some of the songs with lyrics, sound like he's, like, putting forth music to, like, be used in a video game. And that sounds like that's a put down. And it used to be, like, if you don't know, like, back in the old days, you know, like back when I was his age, that was the biggest put down you could put on electronic music. That sounds like video game music. That's how we talked back then, back in the 90s. We drank our OK soda and said, okay. And this is really nice, though, because he mixes the kind of video game music. I'll play a little bit of this track too. I'll kind of go into it. It's a little bit shorter. My Wi-Fi still is no good. But what's cool is that he actually mixes in some kind of like French touch style phasers, which you hear, like the music's a little bit crunched, and even the rhythms has a little bit of that French touch sound mixed in with video games. So he's not just trying to do a straight up, I'm an 8-bit guy, right? He's actually trying to do something else interesting as well. And he does a similar thing on another song later called Sense, which is that sort of developed electronic music with intentionally non-afraid video game music. And that's what I like the most about it, is if you're going to make music that sounds like video game music, just do it. Don't be afraid. A sort of interesting, intentionally aggravating song is I Started a Forest Fire Today. And this is a song which I wonder if he's sometimes afraid to just put his emotions out there, to be too earnest. And so he intentionally like creates distractions and loud noises and distortion. Because this is kind of how it starts, right? It doesn't seem like there's going to be a sort of emotionally striking bit to this song. Let's see if we can...
I started a forest fire today. All of Nova Scotia is in flame. Hey, I think...
What's nice about this track is it's very clear. He's not talking about actually starting a forest fire. It seems that he's talking about sabotaging his own relationships. I've done that a few times. So, I don't know. I think it's better that he does it this way, where he obscures things because he's maybe a little afraid. You know, I think I referred to someone at some point as releasing an album with their hair in their face, which I think is okay. The next track is Moshi-Moshi, which is basically just a video game song. It's great. It's like cutscene music. Like, if I made a video game, I would pay him to make my music, because that's how it sounds, and it sounds good. The next track, Sense, I already mentioned. After that is Coldwater. And this is So I think some of Eric Taxxon's fans watch my videos, and I think sometimes even he watches it. And he has a line in here. And I want to do the thing of where I'm like an old guy who's been where you are, and I am hopefully where you are going, because my life is pretty good. One of the lines he says is, if I were happy, I would feel as if I couldn't trust me. That's a very powerful line. And I remember thinking those exact feelings, when I was 20 years old. If I were happy, I couldn't trust myself. All I'm going to say, my sort of inspirational thing to you, is that is a part of being a really smart, really sensitive, slightly sad young person. There's nothing special about that feeling. Everybody else who is smart and sensitive and sad like you has felt that way. The way out is to acknowledge that that's how you feel, and then work on yourself so that you can learn to accept happiness. And then maybe you'll be like me, and I'm like a happy guy, and I go to therapy every week. And most of the time I'm in therapy, it's like, am I a fraud? Do I really actually feel happy? Can I actually be this happy? Do I deserve happiness? All these questions. I keep asking myself that, and that's allowed me so that when I feel happy, I don't feel like a fake. So that's what I'm talking about. I really relate to this music, but old me relates to this music. I want to pull a Bill and Ted and give this to me when I was 20. This is a great song. Maybe the best produced track, Coldwater. It has this nice kind of synth blast effect, mixed in with his singing and these lyrics that are about this kind of self-doubt and torture. It's really nice. At the end, it's very multi-layered. He uses kind of a video game outro in there as well, and it's great. Then we get to the end of the album, which is very cohesive. And I don't really know how he does this. How does he release an album a month with having this level of cohesion? It should be a lot less clear. It is really surprising that albums so thematically consistent can be produced at such a clip. And I guess it's nice, because he's releasing them so quickly, he doesn't have to just say, this is the year of self-doubt and failure. It can just be, this is a month where I talk about self-doubt and failure. And last month was about victory. So the next track is called Failing. And that's why I'm recording in my daughter's room, and that's why I have a porg. I'm going somewhere with this. The track is called Failing. And this is a great example of the super smart Eric Taxxon. This is a lot of brain, but also some heart. It's a woman playing cello, I think it's a cello, while talking. And she is reading a text written by Eric Taxxon, and music written by Eric Taxxon.
In Failing,
Here we go.
I am required to read a long text while playing music written above the text. The text must be read out loud at a more or less normal pace, and I must not allow the music to slow me down. The task is fairly easy for a while, because there is not much music, and most of it comes at the ends of clauses and sentences, almost like normal punctuation. Later on, there is more music, and the task becomes more...
So it's an amazing piece of meta music and commentary, because she's talking about failing, and then she talks about he wrote her lines of her saying that she's going to fail and thinking about failing, and it's a really excellent thought process. It's a thought piece where you think about the nature of her playing, and she says while she's talking that she's going to fail, but she might not, and that failure is a choice, and a choice that you have to be able to make, and you have to be open to failure, and the music gets really difficult, and then there's noise on top of it, and there's bass, and she's talking, and she's playing, and she's saying stuff like, you don't even know if I'm going to fail because you can't read the music. And it's a real, mise en abîme, picture and a picture and a picture and a picture kind of thing. In French, by the way, that term is called a mise en abîme. That's actually what it is in English as well. A picture inside of a picture inside of a picture. It means put into the abyss. And to a certain extent, listening to this music, this song, Failing, puts you into the abyss, where you're imagining being this woman reading about what she's doing, written by somebody else, who's talking about her experience as she's saying it. But she's not saying what she actually thinks. She's saying what he thinks she's going to think. And so she's saying, I'm going to stop. You get the idea? very smart, very interesting, very engaging. I mean, I've listened to it twice now because I liked it, and I want to listen to it again.
So difficult, in fact, that I will probably not be able to do it without either slowing down my reading speed or else making mistakes in the music.
And now I'm going to make it much larger because I feel like I have a platform, and I just want to. We are in a cultural moment, a very important cultural moment, in which the value of failure needs to be put above other values. And I think that there are certain things that have done this. I think the best example is The Last Jedi, the most recent Star Wars movie. I say it's the best example because it was the most successful. $1 billion movie, some controversy. But the movie, Yoda says failure is the greatest teacher. The movie is about failing. I think part of the Trump issue, political, is that he's obsessed with victory and winning. And when you win, someone has to lose. And this kind of cult of victory and winning and dominance is a very negative, bad place for human beings to be. We shouldn't be obsessed with victory. All I do is win, 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 win. Right? That's the end of winning. It's just killing yourself. Okay? Sorry, but it's true. The value of failure needs to be put ahead. We should be tired of all this winning. Because winning isn't actually that good for you. It's not good to always win. It's good to fail. So this song is part of this cultural movement, along with The Last Jedi, along with the video game Getting Over It by Bennett Foddy, which if you haven't played it, you should play. It's a game which is so difficult, it just drives you crazy. I played it on my phone to make it even harder. I never got past like the stupid thing with this pool slide. I never got past it. I never won. But the whole game is accompanied with a long meditation about the nature of failure. I had my little brief stint of internet success after Trump got elected. I thought about political bumper stickers, and I put on the back of my bumper every single losing political presidential ticket going back to 1960. From 1960 to 2016. So I had, McCain right next to Clinton, right? Hillary Clinton right next to whatever, right? Right next to Romney. And the idea was, why not celebrate failure? Why do we always have to think about winning? So, anyways, I'll put that picture in this video because I'm going to edit it anyways. Here I go. I'm putting the picture in. Now I'm narrating it so you can look at it. And you're like, hey, I think I saw that on Reddit. You did, because some other dude took a picture of it, and I made it to number 2 on the front page of Reddit. But I didn't get any karma, which is the thing they call on Reddit. So my son thought I was cool, but I guess I wasn't that cool. So this little bit failing, it's a great song. It gets my stamp. This whole album really does get a stamp. And then the next track flows very nicely from that, called The Stars in My Head. Once again, we go back down to the heart. It's a song in which he develops all the themes from the beginning, these themes of demons, the themes of flying, the themes of fire, and he really is talking a lot about how he feels and how he feels bad. Has a very beautiful keyboard lead line, kind of a video game melodic tone. Fighting again with music and anti-music. The failing kind of has all this loud noise, and then The Stars in My Head is basically just a pop song. And then it ends with A Quieter Shade of Pink, which is just a nice outro that goes with the rest of it. Excellent album, very enjoyable. I'm going to title it something like, The Battle of Head and Heart Together at War. I don't know. I'll call it something like that. So I promised you I'd show you a clip. So the beginning of the album Victory Lap includes some guy saying, oh yeah, you know it is, boy, he's got his free taco. And I didn't know what that was. And Eric Taxxon mixes it together with Bjork, and then mixes it together with Eminem, and then some other song. I don't know what it is. If you know what that song is, could you put that in the links? Because I've been trying to find it. It's really good. And he mixes them all together. But it was this whole free taco thing. I didn't know what that meant. So my friend Gabe, the guy who turned me on to Eric Taxxon, he was like, oh, you don't know that? That's part of the very important playlist. And so I watched this video of this dude who's like, if you haven't seen it, you have to see it. His name goes, hey, how much did you pay for that taco? And this guy, he's getting all jiggy. He's all like, oh, yeah, you know what it is, boy. He's got his free taco. And then he slips on his skateboard and he falls. And it's the funniest thing. So Gabe was staying over at my place. His mom was out of town. And I was watching him. And so in order to like celebrate this, do something nice for him, because it sucks when your parents go out of town, I got Mega Man 11, just because he likes retro games and I like Mega Man, so we were going to play it together. So I had my son film me recreate the free taco fall with Mega Man 11. So I'm going to put that here at the end, just because I'm really proud of it. I think I did a good fall. So anyways, I can't wait for Taxxon's next album. And hopefully I will get back to the gym and not just sweat moving couches. Oh, pretty soon things are going to change on the channel, just for like a month, because I'm going to Serbia. I'm getting married. So I might just like switch to singles. I don't know what. But anyways, until next time, I will watch the video after I end this. But until next time, there's the camera.
Hey, what game did you get to play with Gabe this weekend?
Oh, you know what it is, boy. He's got his Mega Man 11.